Today, Caprics is honored to have with us Ms. Vandhena Muralikrishnan, the visionary founder of Shree Bala Niketan, International Preschool, Salem, a child psychologist. She is also a parenting expert, a trainer. And ma'am, we are very happy to have you here to discuss a very, very crucial topic. And we believe it's the right time to discuss about this topic as well. So welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Same here.
So, like we said, the topic is meeting the expectations of today's parents. So, this discussion is majorly focused on insights for teachers and school leaders on how to handle all the parental expectations that is put in front of them in this time. Right. So, let's dive right into the session. So, this is going to be a very fun segment where we are going to have a lot of memes related to the topic that we're discussing, and we'll divide and discuss about the images that we're going to see. Right. So moving on to the first thing today. So here we have a good comparison of how parents were then and how parents are now.
Yeah. So can I go ahead?
Yes. Yeah, the question will be how have parents' expectations from schools and educators evolved over the year, and what do you think has influenced these changes?
Okay. First of all, good evening to everyone, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Caprics and the team. And the question is really an interesting one. So the first one should be very interesting, and the picture depicts it. So yeah, so how have parents' expectations from schools and educators evolved over the years? Many of us know this, at least the millennials know, because those days only the concepts were like getting the marks, getting the rank, and getting admitted into a school or colleges. But the extracurricular or the competitions, whatever, were not much considered. And these many classes now that have emerged, but in those days that was not there. So it did not happen overnight, but consistently this has grown. And from basic literacy to holistic approach is what parents are expecting today. So it was just basic literacy is enough to my child was there in those days. Those days means not very, very far, but just few years back it was there. But now it has evolved into a different way. Like they seek cognitive learning in the school. Then the growing demand for extracurricular activities. We should mention that. And they also check the safety of the child in the school. Say, if you take a preschool in my school, if the parent is coming for admission, they don't simply come, fill the form and go. First thing they ask is, can we visit the classrooms? And then they will be just checking that if the school is child-proof, is it safe, and how the restrooms are being maintained, the hygiene level. So yeah, this is the main change that has been happening since at least 20, 25 years. So now it has grown in a different way, the expectations of the parents. Influences have definitely come from social media, and that could be the reasons. And seeing the other school children, neighbors performing, and the board changes. If a child is put into earlier state board was prevailing. Now there are different boards, different children are studying in different boards. So they're comparing that. And totally the social media is playing the role as the boon and the bane here. So when we are seeing a video from an influencer, we immediately, we are immediately wanting the same in our lives. And that's why many influencers, we should applaud them. And they've started to put the BTS, this is what's happening behind the scenes. Not everything is as same as what we show. So that we have to be inculcating within ourselves, parents as parents. So yes, so homeschooling is also much prevailing these days, and homeschooling, there are many advantages. At the same time, the major disadvantage is social skills, getting socialized with others will not be there. It will be curbed. So that has to be one of the negative points in homeschooling. Other than that, with social media, anyone can educate a child, at least during the early childhood. So to answer your question, right, Parents' expectations have grown from 0 to 200, I would say, and the influences have made majorly through social medias and also through seeing the neighbors, meeting them during the waiting time. When the school bell is ringing and when we wait for the children, the parents' discussions, they are really, if you just overhear that, you will know entire thing what and all they are talking. Oh, dance class that you have put up, and karate, taekwondo, whatever. Then immediately you will want to put your child, admit your child also in those classes. But instead, I would suggest, once the child is having the interest, especially these things are happening in the early childhood period, not in the grown period or pre-teen period, because there the children take the decisions. But here we are making them to dance for all our steps. So this is what influence significant transformation of have happened. Only good thing I would say is, I mean, that's the thing that I have to underline and say is, uh, grade comparison or rank comparison have minimized a lot. That is not happening. Parents are not just wanting marks alone. They are looking forward to have very good life skill achievements, how they are concentrating in the class, their motor skills, all these things they are emphasizing more than marks. There are certain cases where they're very peculiar about the marks, but mostly it has changed. We must appreciate that. So it's a boon. Mostly the weighing side is on the boon.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Great. That was a great examples that you have given us as well. So, moving on to the next question. What are some of the biggest challenges that parents face today in raising children, and how can schools support them?
Okay, very important question. Everybody should heed to this. See, opinions differ, but whatever I have experienced in my school with my children, I would like to tell few points about it. So the basic thing is, we are all looking forward to the happy faces of the children. This is what all of the school teachers, management, and the parents seek. But every child lives in a different environment. They come from different lifestyle, background, and all that. Now, the major problem parents face is being single parent or being together but not having good relationship between each other, and being in a very joint family and not getting the enough support. So when the mental health of the parents are getting destroyed, then it immediately affects the children. We are able to see that in the children. So when I inquire without even knowing what is happening in a child's home, if I inquire what happened to the child, why he or she is looking very dull, the teacher immediately says, "Ma'am, there is a problem going on at his home or her home." So it is very evident on the child's. I'm talking about pre-kindergarten, lower kindergarten children. So, they reflect the same. They reflect the same. So that is because of the environment that is happening at home. So the biggest challenge parent face is this one, the co-parenting or the co-parent support is not available. Second thing is technology. Again, we cannot tell it totally as a curse, but technology at early childhood is definitely not that required. So they say 60 minutes in a day with a split, like 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, like that, 20, 10, 10, like that. You can divide and give the screen time for the children, because you have to do something. You will be having another toddler at home. So you can give and for some time. But here, if a child sees more than 20, 30 minutes together, then it starts getting affected. The child gets affected on various aspects, not only eyesight or brain, many things. They are not being present in the current situation, even if it's a birthday party or a marriage, everywhere we are able to see children having their phones. So parents are extremely struggling with this. If a parent is coming and complaining about something, it will be on phone usage, especially during the holidays, annual holidays, half yearly holidays, and all. They say you keep him at school itself, you keep her at school itself. We are not able to manage. So this is what parents face. That's the biggest challenge of today's parents. And from teachers' perspective, how can schools support them? Is I would like to tell a scenario where a parent was at the verge of getting separated. They were not, but the discussions were going. I would say if a parent is separated, then that will be handled in a calm way. but the moments before the separation, no, all the the issues, the mishaps, hiccups that the child has to go through, the parents have to go through at home. That is really terrible because they'll be having, they will be shouting at each other, unnecessary conversation, people inputting. Those who were considered as third persons will be involving in the home. So once it was like a bird's nest is getting shattered in front of their own eyes. So that's when children, they either they become very, they become very, very naive, and they remove themselves from the social mingling and all that. They will not be into it, or they will try to find the support outside and neglect the family setup completely. Any one of these would happen. So during this time, one child was getting affected, and we knew that the child was every day crying, and he constantly says stomach pain, and he goes home. So after a week, when we called the mother, she said, "No, there's no stomach pain and all that. He is not sleeping in the night properly because every day there is a problem going on and all that." So we felt very bad. Just 4 years old child, old boy. So we didn't do anything. We didn't give counseling and all to the child. We did not talk about that personal thing to that child. We just called, hugged him every day in the morning, and we gave a reassurance that at least these 8 hours you're going to be with us, you're going to be super happy. You're going to have a great environment around you. These are your friends. This is your another family. And you won't believe, I didn't ask the parent or teacher. The next PTM when she came, she just thanked me by doing this, by saying namaste. And she said, I should be really grateful to you. I don't know what you did, but he's happily coming to the school, and his, the developments and all the attitude, everything has changed after you spoke to him. I don't know what you spoke. He said, Vandhana ma'am spoke to me. So the teacher also, I trained the teacher also. So this is what required from all the educators. I think nowadays everybody is giving support. And one thing, we have to support the children. Other thing, we should not be the reason for the child to get, creating hatred towards others or being neglected. That we should not have. They should be they should be having a good rapport between each other, and we should be the reason for it. The schools, be it an 8th standard guy or a 10th girl or a college going student. We must be the bridge between the sufferings and this side, the happiness that we have to give. Next comes the grades, education, and all that. So, to answer your question, challenges are the plainly, I should say, it is majorly from the family, that the family environment is not able to cater what the mother or father wants to provide to the child. So, that is there. So the schools have to check with how a child is behaving, how the child is growing up, and all these things. Other than this, for higher class, like from 6th grade and all that, they can conduct some decision making program. In some schools, I'm able to see entrepreneurship program, like they will put a stall, carnival and all. They will sell their own products. So they will manage the money. They will make decisions. So if a product is not getting sold, they can make a decision whether they can provide it for free. So they can learn marketing strategies and sales and buy based events, and tune them as an individual, giving them wings to fly. That is very important from school side. Making them as an individual. So this is what I feel, and teachers can be accountable to check if the child is really doing well on everyday basis.
Yes, ma'am. I think you addressed a very key point here today that not every child goes back to a happy home. So it is very
Yeah.
very important for schools to maintain a safe space for the children. So it goes beyond education, like you said, to ensure the well-being of the child is and should be the top priority of schools. That was very well addressed. The example you gave was really awakening, and I'm sure all the educators watching would look out for signs in children to know whether they are in distress. Thank you so much for the example. Moving on to the next question. So we have a fun name for this question.
Okay, I'm concerned. Okay.
So this is based on the very common, famous rhyme from nursery, the bingo rhyme. Yeah. So, so the question would be, what are the most common concerns you hear from today's parents about their children's education in early years?
Yeah. Okay. So, which is that, as I told when we spoke in the beginning of the session, questions are like it is like in a hierarchy. So it's very much it will provide clarity to the listeners for sure, because it is made in that way. So the first thing I am seeing in the children these days, and parents are seeing, is the most frequent complaints are about they are not getting mingled with other children. They are not getting along with the child, and they have to be independent. They have to speak well on stage. That's what I told during the first question, I think. They are not very much particular about the grades right now, at least for preschoolers. They are not very much particular about it. They are asking the in the morning how they are getting ready, their everyday routine. And all these things are the concerns that parents do have. So these are the common concerns parents every day talk about in the early years. So um, for an example, if we take one scenario, one important thing through this forum, I'm very much happy to inform. I mean, tell about it, share some insights on it. When they come and admit a child in a preschool, if a child is 2.5 years for pre-KG, now it's made 3 years as well. So when they are coming for admission, they simply ask all these things and they admit. And when we check the date of birth of all the children who are in that class, it will vary with 3 months, 4 months, 6 months difference. Definitely, there will be a very the lowest age child, and also youngest, and also the eldest child between this 2.5 to 3.5. So tell me whether you can compare a newborn with a 3 month old. There would be a lot of developmental milestones that 3 month old would have achieved. Newborn will just be the newborn. That's all. You can't expect the newborn to just, crawl or doing somersaults and all that at that particular age. 6 months, 7 months difference will be there. How can a parent expect all the children, or at least your own child, her or his own child, to be the best in the class when there are already the eldest children in the class who are developing even before that child? So that basic thing should be understandable by parents. That is what I say. When they admit and when they come for getting the report card, they say this only: why my child is not talking? Why my child is not seeing properly? Why the child is not writing properly? Writing and all is a skill that comes only after 5, 6 years. But unfortunately, we brought it here at the age of 3, 3.5, 4. Okay, now we are changing. But they will be expecting that school. No, I mean, my cousin only, she gave birth just 3 months before me. Her child is writing. I don't know why my child is not writing, ma'am. I think here coaching, the teacher is not, or at least between the classes they compare. I have 3 sections in junior KG. So they compare, with that teacher, that child is writing. With this teacher, she is not writing. All these are because of the differences. When I teach phonics to the children, totally they are different from each other. When I teach about a concept called blending, immediately not every child would pick up. It will take time. But the understanding is a little bit lesser in parents. That's the major concern. But to rectify that concern and to console themselves, they have to tell this to them. Our child is totally different with age, genetic contribution. Genetic contribution matters a lot. I used to say during when I conduct parent orientation meeting, when I ask for any questions, any doubts, nobody raises their hands and all. They will be sitting simply and they will not answer. They'll be shy and hesitant to get up and talk in the mic and all that. I just ask them, if you won't hold the mic and speak now, I cannot make your children to speak. But they will say they should speak like you, ma'am. They should be like you. We want that. How that would happen if you are modeling? Parents are modeling. So it is your responsibility to come out of your own shell to make a difference in your child's life. So this is very important. So if a parent is concerned about the early childhood issues, then immediate step they should take is they should meet the class teacher frequently, not wait for the PTM. School should be able to provide the service that frequently they must be ready to meet, at least not the head of the headmaster, headmistress, or the correspondent principal, but at least the class teacher should meet. So this is my request to all the educators. This also removes lots of conflicts which would be coming in the future. So I would be discussing about that in the next thing. And bullying, mental health development, and all, if parents are concerned, teachers or the schools can create some value-based skits, programs, and all for the children, which would be benefiting.
Yes, ma'am. I think there are so many key tips that you've given us on this very important topic that teachers definitely should look out for. And moving on to the next question. How can schools and educators cater to the diverse parenting styles and philosophy in today's society?
Okay. So there are four parenting styles actually. One is authoritative, authoritarian, and permissive and uninvolved. These are the four parenting styles. That's what child psychology says, and this has been proposed. So among these four, this authoritative, authoritarian, permissive, uninvolved, there are different attributes, traits that parents do follow. Uh, like we will not be, I am authoritative, I am authoritarian. We will not say like that, but unknowingly we fall into any one of these categories. So if you take authoritative, they are giving some decision making options to the children. They help in decision making, and they will have clear expectations. This is what I expect from you. And they will be very warm, and they will be ready to nurture. That environment is authoritative. Authoritarian is being strict and not giving that decision making expectation, and giving little room for negotiation. If a child is not not convenient or comfortable, not giving the opportunity to negotiate. So that is the authoritarian. Permissive parenting is few rules, mild punishments will be there, and some nurturing will be there. Uninvolved is, we know we don't have to explain it. Them being not involved, and because of many reasons, being reluctant, being pressurized all the time. So, actually, to be honest, authoritative parenting is considered really healthy. But parents, one thing they have to understand. So, if we give something like this, definition like this, parents do think, oh my God, so I am sometimes being authoritarian. I am permissive. Oh, I'm uninvolved, I think. Really, no. Every one of us would be uninvolved at what some instances. And authoritarian is sometimes, later we will regret. And authoritative, yes, mostly we are trying to be. And permissive, we are giving mild punishments. These things are happening. That's how our parents raised us. There's no harm. But this is, if you see theoretically, these are the things in parenting styles. So your question is, how can schools and educators cater to the diverse parenting styles? Now, school is a place where many children come from different environment. So different environment, different parenting styles. So for that, I would like to say a story. A shepherd was there who was taking care of many lambs and all. And there were flocks of lambs going here and there playing. And there was this one lamb he was always carrying. So an old man came. Every day I'm seeing you carrying this lamb. If you can just leave, what would happen? Why are you carrying the same lamb every day? Very small lamb. Why are you carrying it every day? The old man asked. So the shepherd said, all the lambs that you're seeing there are, very quiet, and they are very amicable, and they just take care of their own works, and they do grazing. They come back wherever I call. This lamb is never obedient, and it's running here and there. One day he broke his leg. After that, I'm not leaving him. I'm taking care of him. Once he's better, I would send him for grazing and all that. Till then, I will feed, he said. Now, I am seeing the flocks of lambs as our students, our school students, children, young children, and all. And the shepherd is the teacher. Now, that shepherd did not take care of the very cute lamb, or very, the poignant lamb, very subtle lamb, and all. Very obedient lamb, he did not take care of. He took care of the lamb which needed attention, which needed to be, taken care. So, from here, from this educator's perspective, we have to take care of, nurture such children who are not obedient, not naughty, naughty and not disciplined. These children have to be nurtured and taken care properly. If a child is already superb, and if you are, showing that result to the parents, there is nothing as challenging as you taking care of the other way. So those children who are requiring essential ideas and your support, they have to be nurtured well. So those parents will be really grateful to you. already there are parents who are, supporting the child at home, do require very less attention. I would not say we should not care for them, but to answer your question, when they come from an uninvolved parenting style or authoritarian parenting style, all they seek is love and care from you. First, that if you give, you can nurture a child in a really good way. And I always say, teachers can be the second mothers. In fact, sometimes the best mother for a child. So it is our responsibility to have control over their lives to a certain period, to take care of them in a very lovable way. So this is my answer. I don't know whether it's relevant, but I feel a story would be, relevant. That's why I chose this.
Yes, ma'am. Everything gets better with a story, actually. So
Yeah.
you had actually clearly told us about the different types of, the parenting styles that people have, and I think that thing that you said that stuck with me the most is, like it's a very common saying that a teacher is the second mother to a child, but
Yes.
most importantly, in some cases, they become the best mother as well. So I think that is something which every teacher should keep in their hearts when they
Yeah.
are catering to needs of individual child at their class. So that is great. So moving on to the next question. So this is again a it's a very common question that many teachers have in their minds, and so we would like some clarity on this. So we have a meme for that as well. So this is basically a parent-teacher meeting and a child who's been waiting outside. So the question on this would be, this is basically what happens in most schools, right? So we invite the parents for a PTM, and then there's a child who's not involved at all, who's asked to step aside, but then there are two adults who are discussing about the child, his personality, his marks, and everything. So how can we better incorporate students' voice in a PTM? And what key pitfalls should be avoided during the PTM?
Okay. So the pitfalls and do's and don'ts, everything together, I would discuss. So first, we will talk about how a teacher should start a PTM. First thing, it is up to the school to decide whether the child has to be there in the room or not. It depends on school. It's totally their individual idea. But for preschoolers, it doesn't matter whether they're going to be there or they're not going to be there. So they don't understand much. That is important. Until you call them, you label them, that is going to affect them. Otherwise, no, they're going to play and meddle with something. So first thing, very first sentence, I being a mother of two sons, whenever I'm called for a PTM, I get preoccupied anxiety what they're going to say because my elder one is very naughty. So I would be like very much agonized what they're going to say and all that. The very first word with a smile on the face, come on, have your seat. And then no, he's very smart. That way, if a teacher starts, we'll become comfortable, a body posture, everything will become proper. Body language will be nice. Otherwise, we will be, some parents are even shivering to attend the PTM. They know what would happen, what would the teacher say, and all that. So the do's, if we speak about the first thing, have a smile on your face and, invite the parent happily and tell the first word as an affirmative word, affirmative sentence. At least one thing you would be having definitely with a child. So you have to tell that. After that, if you're telling something negative, that must not sound like negative at all. Likewise, you have to say, at least for early childhood children, I'm mentioning. So, speak about their cognitive skills, how fearless they are, how their stage performances are, and then the grades. So, grades are not much important for our schools. So, this is what, and he is performing like this, she is performing like that would help. And certain things should be discussed alone only, not in front of the child. So you can ask the child or a student of fifth grade, fourth grade to stand outside and discuss, especially personal habits, issues. Those things only the mother and the child should, I mean, mother and the teacher should discuss. And no shaming, making them, in front of others, putting them into an uncomfortable situation, embarrassing situation would definitely not make anything better. So that is very important. And not to discuss anything in front of other parents. When parents are sitting, there are schools. It'll be crowded, the classroom. Parents will be shouting, teachers will be shouting. And I don't think that would be a better environment for a PTM. So Pitfalls, we discussed a lot about how it is happening in the parent side and also the school side. You have to ask for opinions from higher class students. If they are higher class, then for PTM, they don't have to wait like this. They can be asked whether you want to come to the PTM, or you can ask their opinions. That is very important. Keep a suggestion box for them so that they can pour their suggestions, what they feel about the PTM. Some children do not answer on face, so that would be beneficial. And not carrying marks alone, paying attention to their mental health and talking about how they behaved when they were asked to perform on stage. Suddenly, how the jitters and all that, they can work on that, because the future is soft skills, how they're going to speak and all that. If they're not going to speak but just score 90-100%, it's not going to help. So that way we can develop the children. If you take tortoise, a creature, tortoise, when I tell about, just I'm asking Krishmika, when I tell about tortoise, what do you remember? Can you tell me?
I
Just a normal
remember the
question, not
story.
trying to relate.
Yeah, the hare and the tortoise. The story is what comes to my mind first.
Yes, so we know how does a tortoise, do. In Tamil, we
Yeah,
say, "Ama madri nadakada." Tortoise, you don't walk like tortoise, because it's very slow and all that. But I have some
yeah,
interesting note about this tortoise. It travels 6.4 kilometers per day. Tortoise travels 6.4 kilometers a day. It is one of the ancient creatures, and also it lives for up to from 320 to 700 years. So this is it's one of the oldest creatures, I should say, and it's seeing close to 5 generations. Since it is very calm and compassionate, as we say, slow and steady wins the race. So they're very calm and they're able to achieve the result, that caliber it has. And the marine researchers have discovered that they lay eggs at the same place every time. So even if it had traveled 200 kilometers away, they come back and lay eggs, not 200, at least 20-30 kilometers, they come back and lay at the same place. So they have certain standards. So when I ask about tortoise, or even me before preparing for this session, I never knew about all these things of tortoise. So I thought it is a slow walker. It is very slow creature. It doesn't have any usage. So why this had happened? Why we think once tortoise comes to the mind, we tell it as slow. We label it as slow. So since it doesn't have sixth sense, and we don't know whether it has that much of emotions, it doesn't bother about whoever is telling whatever. But think of humans, think of children. When you label them, she is lonely, she's poor writer, handwriting is not good, slow picker, all these things, when you continuously label, then definitely it is going to affect the child. But unfortunately, not only teachers, but also parents do this. So that should be limited or totally stopped. We should not label the children. That is very important. So if that is considered, then I think the pitfalls can be easily removed. So this is what I feel about the parents
yes,
meeting and all that.
yes, ma'am. I think you had given very important tips for the teachers on how to get a PTM started and how to make a parent feel comfortable before we start, adding things to talk about the child. And I think the very important takeaway would be how it is not in our hands, and we should not definitely label children.
Yeah,
I think that is
definitely.
definitely the key takeaway. Okay, so moving on to the next question. What strategies can teachers use to manage conflicts with parents? This is again a very common question that has come up when we have announced this session. Many teachers are looking forward to this particular question.
Okay. Yeah. So to manage conflicts with parents, it is very common. It's inevitable. Schools and parents are like, it goes shoulder to shoulder, hand to hand. It is common, like a bread and butter. And strategies are now, many schools have started to imbibe this. It is keeping observation week, parent observation week. Parents visit once in a month at least to come and be inside the classroom and see what they're doing. Frequent complaints, as soon as the child joins a school, the trust will not be there. They'll be thinking, there will be some wounds on their body, but they will think the teachers have hit. These things are there before they get the trust from the school, especially if it's a new school in that area. Then obviously they're all very small children, and the trust will not be there. So to gain the trust, it's better to allow the parents inside the school. Many schools, at least 3 4 years back, I don't know whether still it is happening. They just close everything, even the glass door, everything they shut. No, ma'am, you're not allowed inside. Sorry. Children will be wailing. They'll be crying like anything to go, at least on the very first week. Now that creates unnecessary anxiety for the parents who are outside. What we are going to do? We are going to do some music and movement on the very first week and going to give some toys. They are going to play on their own. It's just like a daycare for first 1 week. We can allow the parents. In fact, they will help us. They will take care of 2 3 children. So it will be easier for us. This is what we do. We allow the parents inside and they can see what and all we are doing. How difficult it is to manage children, all children together. And particularly, they will be able to get some reassurance that yes, my child is being taken care with proper hygiene, and restrooms are being properly washed, and my child is being taken to the restrooms frequently. The first complaint is yesterday my child told ma'am, you are not at all giving permission for restroom. So she is always asking for that, and you're not allowing. This is what they say. Or make them drink lots of water. Why snacks box is not like that only? Why lunch is like that? All these things. See, I completely validate all these concerns from parents. Very first time when they are sending the children to the schools, of course they will be having all these. But from school side, to make it as a smooth transition between parents and teachers, please conduct parent orientation program. Tell all your policies, and you can prepare a ppt and make it really lovely, and be very open and transparent, and invite criticism. If give the feedback form to the parents during the observation week, give them the feedback form, ask them to write. No ma'am, even in Tamil you can write, even in your mother tongue you can write. We would like to know how we are performing, what are the gray areas that we have to improve, especially for the schools that are trying to be on the growth stage, or trying to prove themselves. Definitely they have to inculcate all these things, and uh, these things will be really beneficial for school perspective. And parents are not actually aliens. They are just us. They are same as how we are also parents. So we are accountable for giving the same environment that what our children will have to undergo. So if that concept is understandable, then teachers can really rock. Management should be very friendly, transparent, and even if it's a small cut on the hand, it is our responsibility to inform. Lying, hiding should never be the case considered in the school. We should be really transparent. And there was one case where junior KG to senior KG, a child is shifting. A parent came and complained during the quarterly time, the very few months over, 2 months got over. He said, last class teacher was wonderful. My child is every day crying because this class teacher is not good. I'm not fine with this class teacher. She has a problem. That class teacher would have been the best in the school. But, the parent is very much accommodating with the old class teacher. So the change is accustoming with the environment is not there with the parents itself. That should not be the case. They have to change and they have to trust the teachers. So it should happen both the ways. If it is done properly, we can easily manage the conflicts. And last but not the least, if a parent is raising voice unnecessarily, or there are very few problematic parents, then they must be handled properly. First, we have to understand there could be any reasons behind that. At home, there would have been a problem, whatever. Later, the same parent would come and, speak in a gentle way. But one way, if we also shout, it doesn't look like a school. So first, we must calm down. We must accept if there has been a mistake. And then we can rectify it. We can ask for apologies if required. So both these sides, ego should not be the case. That's how we can run a proper school. There are parents who were like a literal enemy in the beginning stage, but now they are like will do anything for the school. It changes. Only the trust plays the role.
Yes, ma'am. So you have given us many examples, and I'm sure everybody watching could relate definitely to all those examples that you have given. And you have highlighted the importance of having a very transparent communication with the parents, and the most important takeaway would be how important it is for us to validate their concerns. I think that
Yeah.
itself would solve most of the issues, and then we'll have very less conflict with the parents. That was very,
Yeah.
very enlightening for all of us. So, moving on to the last question, which is again a very important one. So, we see increased number of parents who are getting involved in the child's academics. So, they would want to know more about the curriculum, the books, and stuff. So, what role do you think the schools and the curriculum providers play in collaborating to address the parents' concerns as far as the educational milestones and goals are concerned?
Okay. A nice question. When we talk about curriculum, again, it is not a sponsored program and all that, but I would say I really appreciate Caprics curriculum as well. I have gone through many curriculums in my 10 years of preschool experience. It is well curated. As I told before, it benefits all the from all the vicinity, whoever the children are, it would definitely benefit them. It is made that way. The pedagogy, everything is very nice. The lesson plans and handy. It comes handy for the teachers also. So like that, if the curriculum planners or the publishers or the schools are choosing, then it is going to benefit the parents and the children. So other than that, I think our NEP, Educational Policy 2020, has provided a major transformation from the rote methodology, the traditional way of teaching and all that. Now it is not the case. They are very focused on inclusive environment. So they target everybody should get everything. The curriculum itself says that, and more holistic approach. There are a lot of hands-on learning for the children, whether they are from state board or CBSE. And parents are now concerned about the future. Even in sixth standard, I'm able to see them, the children being put into neat classes and all that. So that is there. They're very much concerned about that. So curriculum should not be, already the parents are putting a pressure. If the school is choosing a curriculum provider or a curriculum which is again with so much of advanced learnings, then it is going to be definitely a pressurized environment for the child. So I would request the curriculum providers one thing: when you prepare a pedagogy or a book for a framework for a particular class, consider how you can upgrade from what you were doing to the next level, not with the external scenarios. Because everything is becoming through influence. I mean, through influences, and also it's very influential. When a particular institute is creating an academy for NEET or JEE and all that from sixth standard, then this academy also gets transformed. Now, schools have very big boards in front of them displaying the marks and all that. But the children, sadly, those children who are going to the college, getting admitted into different colleges, universities, and abroad, we are able to see many news coming from, like, they were not able to sustain the ragging, sustain the issues that were there. They were being they were being reluctant, neglected, and all these things are putting a pressure on them. Children are not able to handle that pressure. So there is no point with these paper just grade. So beyond that, we should focus on mental health. So I request all the curriculum providers to collaborate with some child psychology or mental wellness programs and conduct this frequently, one-on-one counseling sessions. So here I'm not emphasizing on anything related to academics. Everybody is doing it in a very great manner. There is no issues at all. But how a curriculum provider or the government's education policy is different, it has to be really catering their mental wellness, mental needs, and we should be the shoulder. The teacher who takes care of that particular class should be the shoulder for all the issues. So also we can consider fostering a culture of transparency and leverage the technology based education we can provide, and biannual board exams or biannual exams for the children who are appearing for board exams. So till the end of the year, the child or the parent does not have to wait. to see the results. In the middle itself, if they're getting to know, no, something is not working out, then they can be put into a tuition or some help can be taken. Till the year end, then again, if it is not working out, it is again a problem. And yeah, so these are all the things a school should be able to do. And while selecting the books, uh, one request is not for giving a credit or giving some other free programs you should choose. Definitely, page by page, the particular department should read. And also, an important point, whether that particular book will be handled by our teachers, because it refers from urban to rural teachers, whether they would be able to handle, and then whether the children would be able to go through that particular portions. If it is a rural area, then it's going to be really difficult for them, so they have to choose that way. That's why I mentioned your curriculum is I'm able to see it's common for everyone. Either the curriculum should be set that way, or the schools should be able to decide which would be beneficial for their own children, their own school children, depending on the locality as well. So yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. That was actually a very insightful point for all the school leaders who are definitely watching, I'm sure. And definitely, like you said, we also at Caprics, we definitely want the transparency to be there with the parents, also from a curriculum provider's point of view, and we ensure that the parent orientations, like you said, are happening every year in the beginning and also in between the academic year. So the parents are also aware of what the educational milestones are, and so that they don't in between the year go to the teacher, pressure them into making a child write, or why is he not writing, or what is happening in class. That
Yes.
transparency is what we want to happen. So that thank you so much for highlighting that today as well. So we have
Thank
had
you.
a wonderful and we have discussed so many important topics today, and I'm sure everybody who's watching and is going to watch will definitely have many key takeaways from this discussion. We are so happy that you have given us the time to discuss the topic today with us. And your
Thank you.
expertise
Same
and
here.
all your examples were really, really great, which everybody could relate to. And I think that is what is going to make this session a very great success. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much to your team and Veena from Caprics. Splendid job, and keep doing this. I listened to I saw many videos, previous videos, and they were all mind blowing. Seriously, I felt a little bit. I was not into related to the content. I just told many stories. It was very simple, I felt, but they were all really great. And I saw many videos, took references from them also. Keep going and keep doing this every week or month, and I would be looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Have a nice day.